You may think I'm walking in a park, but this is actually the Razorpay's office here in Bengaluru. Among the youngest fintech unicorns of India, 10-year-old Razorpay has changed the way India transacts. Its entry as a homegrown payment gateway was just the tipping point for what is now a diversified product portfolio. Razorpay's razor-sharp focus on simplifying money movement has kept it relevant across business finance categories. From neo-banking to escrow products, payroll facilities to corporate cards, it is a one-stop shop for businesses. A total payment volume of $100 billion clocked, Razorpay is now banking on the next level of growth, with RBI lifting the embargo on payment aggregator license. But is the company ready to tide over regulatory compliances that have made the fintech sector dominate headlines recently? We decided to find out with the Chief Operating Officer of Razorpay, Rahul Kothari. Rahul, thank you very much for taking time out and thank you for speaking to News9. My first question to you, these are very interesting times to be in fintech industry where India's growth in India's stack as well as digital payments has become envy and pride of the nation. How are you feeling about what's happening in the industry?
No, feeling really great, really good. Especially given that we are in the middle of this entire change happening, entire growth happening. We are also leading a lot of these trends with a lot of innovations under our belt. So yeah, really, I think the best time to be in fintech and best time to be in fintech in India.
Absolutely. And there's so much innovation that is happening, not just with Razorpay with respect to your 2-minute instant refunds, but overall in the digital payments ecosystem. A fast revolution of kind that we're seeing.
Yeah, no, that's true. And there are 2 or 3 things which has really enabled this innovation to happen and kind of reach the inflection point where so many innovations happening. I think first and foremost, I would say in general, India has a pretty tech-centric or a lot of people with tech expertise and therefore enough critical mass of people who can lead this kind of a tech revolution within fintech. I think second, also because of course, we all know because of the internet, because of the mobile phone penetration in India, there are enough opportunities for tech to be enabled for fintech. And third, I think regulator in general has been pretty supportive in terms of what are some of the new things that we can do in the fintech perspective, either to have the lower cost of transactions, either to improve efficiency, either to reduce fraud. So I think it has come together to create a very good place where all these innovations have happened.
Okay.
And
specifically on Razorpay, when it comes to innovation, what is Razorpay doing to innovate the fintech space?
Yeah. So in fact, at Razorpay, since our inception, our entire DNA has been innovation centric. The entire thing which drove us was how we can do new things to either improve the customer experience, either to reduce fraud or create an entire delight for all our customers. So right from the beginning, one of our biggest innovation was how do you kind of get the small merchants to go online easily. There were days around, say, 8 to 10 years back, when only large enterprises could think of having the online payment gateway. They required a set of engineers to really integrate, maintain those entire integrations. But now Razorpay kind of came up with the innovation, okay, you can through a single line of code integrate a payment gateway. It takes less than 30 minutes for you to go live. So that was the first innovation.
But on payment gateway particularly, RBI lifted that embargo back in December. And since then, of course, you are hoping to acquire more customers going forward. What are the gains and prospects we're looking at when it comes to, being on as an aggregator and being on a payments bank as opposed to just the traditional UPI interface?
Oh, sure. So, of course, you rightly mentioned, like in December, we got our license and we have been extremely excited to get a lot of merchants who are actually waiting for us to go live to take them online. So we have always been a payment gateway, and with the payment aggregator, a lot of additional advantages come in. Typically, the way industry defines payment gateway is just a tech layer which enables the transaction between, say, a merchant and consumers. Payment gateway is much more than that. They kind of take care of merchant onboarding, they take care of the entire transaction flow, they take care of the post-transaction, so risk management, chargeback, refunds, etc. So that's what the core of the entire payment transaction happening. We have been at the forefront of actually all the UPI innovations. We were the first one, I think, back in 2016 or 17 to launch UPI. We were the first one to launch credit on UPI. Now we're the first one to launch credit lines on UPI.
Okay.
So the kind of, see, the entire benefit as a payment aggregator in this space is how do you really create all those innovations and democratize payments for the entire small merchant and large merchant base as well.
And you know, some would say competition is even heating up in this space. We know what has happened to Paytm for that matter, and with payments bank opportunity for Paytm being out of the window, how do you see competition going forward?
So I think in general, I would say because there's so much opportunity in the market, there would always be competition. But fundamentally, I think it's all about who has a better tech stack, better product, and who is able to innovate more and more.
Okay.
So of course, competition would be there, and I would say there are other companies out there doing multiple stuff, and also they're choosing their own niche that they want to be. What really differentiates us is our vision, and I can very clearly say there's no other competition out there who has that vision, and let me articulate that vision.
Okay.
Our vision is to make end-to-end money movement for businesses seamless, right? From accepting payments to kind of dispersing payments to managing their entire cash flows to kind of capital. So, and therefore, we have building an entire platform which has this multiple kind of use cases. Offline payments, which we have a company called EasyTap, which we acquired 2 years back. Online payments, payroll solutions, say some of the capital product solutions, we have treasury solutions. So it's the combination of all this, which I think really makes the experience of the businesses really seamless. We are creating a platform which makes the things end-to-end seamless, so that actually a business owner does not need anybody to kind of manage all of those things. He himself can do it, and things are very easily available on dashboards, no reconciliation issues, etc.
All right.
So from that perspective,
so from receiving money to dispersing money to holding money, you want to do it all through Razorpay, which brings me to my next question. What are going to be your drivers? Is it going to be the payments bank? Is it going to be, other aspects of insurance, AMC? What are you focusing on as a company, and what will be your focus areas?
So as a company, see, one place where we've clearly become a leader is the online payment space.
Okay.
Now, within our platform, there are some of the other businesses which we have scaled to a certain extent, and some we are very early stage. For example, offline payments, we are still pretty small. I think that is going to be one of the biggest focus areas. How do we scale in the offline payments and create an omni-channel payments experience for our merchants? For example, you can buy in a store, you can return kind of say through an online channel, you can use your rewards points both online, offline seamlessly. So how do you create the entire omni-channel stack and become strong in the offline payments is one. Then there are a lot of new businesses which we have, say for example, payroll. We have businesses which we have just launched, source to pay. We have businesses on escrow management, and all of those things that we focus. So idea is maintain leadership in online payments and scale all the other businesses in India.
I want to talk a little bit about UPI, because you said you've been the pioneers of UPI in the country. Yeah. And you know, UPI is seeing global acceptance as well as applicability.
Correct.
Recently, with Sri Lanka and Mauritius also joining the bandwagon, it appears like UPI is becoming the next big thing that India can export.
Definitely, yes. And in fact, I can tell you a very interesting event or conversation that I had when I was in Malaysia last time. We are talking to a network there, the domestic network similar to say NPCI in India. And in fact, the most of a conversation was about them trying to understand from us how UPI works, what are different kind of how the rails are built, how different things are managed. And in fact, they came to India, spend time with NPCI and take all those learnings back with them to kind of probably build similar rails over there.
Okay.
So
which is what India has been trying to do through India's stack.
Exactly. And I think within India's stack, probably UPI is the biggest successful, I think, experiment we have had, while we are doing few other things in the India stack, identity stack that we are working on and few things. But I think, yeah, UPI definitely, from an acceptance perspective, multiple geographies which now kind of you can make payments via UPI. I think even at the Eiffel Tower in France, like that's one of the biggest kind of visual image that we have.
The more catchier way of looking at it, pay through UPI, go and visit Eiffel.
Exactly. That's one. But I think more importantly, a lot of countries now are looking at whether they can look at the standardization or protocols or the way UPI is built and take all those learnings and build something there.
Right.
I think the best outcome I can think of, they use the same standards and protocols that UPI use, and therefore the payments between the two countries can become seamless. It's almost like creating a completely new international network.
Okay. And what are the opportunities you're looking for export of India stack? Now, you mentioned that UPI, of course, is leading the charge. How about the other 4 key pillars, including your eKYC and Aadhaar? Do you see an export opportunity here?
India has clearly established its leadership in creating all these digital infrastructure assets, and post success of UPI, I am aware of some of the other countries where the identity solution, not really Aadhaar based, but say the identity solutions is something some countries are looking at. In fact, who knows, at some point the entire the digital currency that we're working on, that can also become something which we can export externally.
Absolutely.
But definitely there is scope, because a lot of these countries are looking at India as looking up to India in some of those things. I think what is also important, the success of some of these infrastructure in India has also been driven by a lot of startups and fintechs, right? One of my question marks in my mind: will there be enough innovators and disruptors in those geographies to really build different use cases on top of this infrastructure layer?
Okay, that is interesting. Whether there'll be more acceptance of the APIs in digital stack, I think something we'll have to wait and watch out for.
Yeah.
But before we move into the most interesting bits of this interview, which I'm waiting for, I also want to talk to you about what are your growth plans for Razorpay? You took charge in November last year, if my memory serves me right.
COO.
What are your growth plans? What are your ambitions for Razorpay?
So one of the ambition that we set for ourselves is to really move to, say, $1 billion revenues annually. We are looking for next, say, around 3 to 4 years to start looking at that. Another important, I think, event we are looking at is, say, in next few years, we look at IPO as well.
Okay.
And therefore, the focus is...
Any timeline to the IPO?
It would be like 2 to 3 years, not a fixed, but yeah, we will be looking at IPO at some point. For that, there are 2 or 3 things that we have to really focus on. One is, of course, we continue innovating, the way we are innovating, kind of all the new products and businesses we kind of start taking to scale. But I think one of the most important and the largest business that we have, which is the online payments business, the idea is to make it profitable in next few months. And once we make
Any timeline you're looking at?
It would be definitely like within, say, probably next 1 year, less than 1 year. Definitely.
Less than a year?
Yeah. So the online payments business, we want to make it profitable. That's one of the major focus areas. And second is, how do we so first I said all the new business bets were taken, the innovation we're riding in, say, payroll, escrow, how do we or even innovation in payments, a lot of new things we have launching, etc. How do we keep doing that? Be profitable in online payments business, and then probably IPO is something we'll be
absolutely. And before I let you go, I think $1 million question that is on every customer's mind at this point, whoever is taking to digital payments, is that what about our safety, the data safety, the financial safety? What measures are fintech players, including yourself, taking to ensure that there is more data privacy, that customers build more faith in digital payments ecosystem?
Sure. So first, let me be very honest here. I think whenever any new startups come into play, or say the fintech starts, I think the primary focus is how they can innovate in building new offerings, better experience for the end consumers. Quite realistically, in the early stage, probably the focus for some of this on the data safety or on data safety or privacy is lesser. But I think as companies grow, I think the focus becomes extremely sharp, and I think even at Razorpay, over last few years, the focus on the data safety, privacy, regulation, abidance, compliance has become extremely high. We have almost 3 licenses. We have a payment aggregator license, we have a PPI license, we have a payments license in Malaysia, and therefore we anyway have to keep a lot of these regulatory compliance audits in place. I think having said that, I think one of the things we have done about, say, a few months or about a year back, we have a very strong advisory board to us. We understand that typically the entire regulatory and compliance oversight, because they're large banks, there are regulators, there are people out there with a lot of experience who can advise on how to become better on that. So our advisory board has, say, an ex-RBI senior official, we have one of the IS officers, we have a secretary from one of the ministries who have advised also, okay, these are probably some of the gaps that you look at, or how do we keep strengthening as we grow. I don't think any need for consumers to worry about data privacy or safety or money safety, because I think in general our regulator has been quite clear that consumers kind of privacy and consumers fraud prevention comes first.
If you are someone looking to occupy a corner office, here's what you should know about leadership qualities right from the horse's mouth. This is the segment that I'm very excited about, and I want to begin with the most important question first. As a leader, how would you describe your leadership style?
I would say I'm a fairly open, transparent, and an inspirational leader. But yeah, to some specifics, like I think in general, I'm a person who wants to understand things quite in detail before taking charge of that situation or leading a team or a business for that. So typically, whenever any new industry or any new company I ever joined, or even new project I take, I spent quite a bit of time to understand nuts and bolts, understand depth, and then see what is the right strategy, how do you kind of engage with people, how you can advise people, how you can mentor people to really take care of that. I think that's one. Second, I do not, in fact, I am quite against micromanagement. While most people say this, I think for me this is one of the core principles of leadership.
Okay, and let's say for a potential employee who's hoping to join you here in Razorpay, what would you be looking for? What is that one key quality that Rahul looks for?
I think one of, if you ask, there are many, but if you ask for one, the person should be able to work in a very fast moving, transparent environment. When I say transparent environment, I think it's one of the unique things about Razorpay. The things do not work pretty much top down. A lot of people kind of work bottom up, and when they work bottom up, there are a lot of decisions that smaller groups have to take. And for that, transparency becomes extremely important, so that people are able to share information, take the right calls at the same mid or junior level itself. But it also means that people should be okay to accept feedback from their peers, from their juniors, from multiple people, and keep improving themselves.
Which is my next question. How do you actually give feedback without criticizing someone or without them feeling very critical of what have they done and what the feedback is? How do you ensure that balance?
So I think, first of all, I think while there could be some generic answer to it, but I think it depends a lot on person to person, right? For example, a very standard answer would be you should be giving feedback which should be more in terms of, okay, this is how you can change to improve yourself, rather than saying this is the bad you have done. But I think what I've seen, it works very specific to different people. For example, there's one person in my team who would say, okay, the feedback is good, but give me real time. Like whenever something you
so don't wait on it.
Don't wait on it.
Okay.
But somebody else I know whom I have to wait on and then give feedback, because giving right then the person becomes defensive. So yeah, you have to figure out some of the specifics of people, but in general, I think the feedback has to be more about how people can improve, how you can help the person to improve, how you can provide that support, rather than pointing out, okay, this is the gap. One of the biggest lesson I have learned in this, to have I would say the wisdom to know what feedback to give and not. Because if you know the person, by giving the feedback, the person is not going to able to change himself or herself in that direction at all, then better not to kind of, push person a lot on that, because that actually reduces the confidence of the person.
And let's say someone doesn't take the feedback very well, there is conflict. How do you manage conflict? What are your strategies for conflict resolution?
I think for conflict resolution, I think one of the most fundamental thing is to have the right trust within the people whom you're working with. The moment people think that the person who is trying to kind of come to a different point of view is more directed towards the person rather than the issue, I think the conflict does not get resolved. So I think one of the most important thing is to have the right kind of trust that the people are coming with the right mindset.
Okay.
And second, very I think good thing which works for me. Typically, conflicts also happen because, say, the two persons sitting together, they would have very different points of view on that specific subject. But as you start zooming out, I think somewhere it kind of converges. As you start zooming up, I think fundamentally the conflict kind of gets resolved.
Okay, brilliant. And you also manage a variety of workforce, right? From a generation, for that matter, from very young people to very old people. What is it that you tell Gen Zs when you are hiring or working with them?
I think that's see, one of the things that and I really acknowledge, that Gen Z is much more smarter than when I was at their age.
Okay.
Probably now when I meet somebody who is probably say 20, the early 20s, they kind of know so much about business, so much about work. But typically the advice I give them that today with this different opportunities that you have, it's very easy to kind of keep moving from one place to other in your job or your personal life. It's very difficult to stick to something and spend enough time to really be good at that. So don't kind of move very often. Take your time to choose what you want to do, but once you choose it, spend enough time to build expertise and build kind of something real for you. So that's one of the I think advice I keep giving very often.
Okay.
Because distractions they have are so many, opportunities they have are so many.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what would you tell a potential leader out there in the fintech market or in the industry at this point? What is one mantra you live by and you would like to impart that wisdom on other leaders and potential leaders?
It would be always keep customer first, and I think it's very important in the current context as well, because a lot of fintechs have kind of grown, a lot of I think general fintechs moving towards profitability, and therefore it's a very obvious probably diversion the leaders might take in pursuit of profitability and growth, that they start thinking short term. They don't put the customer interest the first. I think it's extremely important while you are chasing growth and profitability, the trust that the customer has put on you, it does never get lost. I think that is the most important thing that you have to cherish and preserve.
All right, lights, camera, action. Rahul, ready for your rapid fire?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, the first question first. What do you do the first thing when you wake up in the morning before you come to office?
I typically go for a jog or workout.
Okay. What ticks you off in a meeting?
People really not coming prepared.
Okay. What's more productive, work from home, work from office?
Work from office.
One leader who inspires you?
One of my ex-managers.
Okay. Would you like to name them?
Not right now.
Okay. One mantra you live by in your daily life?
Make the day fruitful.
Okay. Your biggest challenge today?
How to really take Razorpay from where it is to a really global platform company.
Okay. Your biggest success till date?
A very good work-life, I won't say work-life balance, but very integrated work and life.
Do you actually manage to achieve work-life balance?
Yes, I
or
do.
Are you still struggling?
No, I do.
Okay. Your first failure in life?
Very early in life, I think it was probably I was not able to clear one of my engineering entrance exams.
And since then?
Since posted, I cleared it, and since then things have
Does
been
it
good.
ever get easy?
Life seems to get easier, actually. I think so. As you kind of grow old, life seems to get easier because you have so much of experience, right, on dealing with all these success, failures, and all those things. You are kind of don't think like up and down too much.
Okay. What's the biggest learning you've had from a previous manager?
Never let anything get you stressed. Ultimately, it's all about a very big game, and you have to make your right moves.
What's your one advice to Gen Zs?
Have fun, enjoy, but work smart and stick to it.
All right. Work smart, stick to it. Also have fun and enjoy. That's the word coming in from Rahul. Thank you very much for watching.